Hello guys, we are live back here again and I got her on the channel.
Hi everybody.
By popular request, I've got my wife right here with me doing this live stream. And today we're going to be talking about the husband, you know, the role of a husband, right?
Yeah.
I have no idea what that sound is. I should probably check it out quickly.
Okay. Hey everybody. I don't remember, like, for some of you guys, but the last time I said there were comments for me to come back on, then I could be persuaded. So here I am.
Yeah, there she is. Like, I just got an emergency alarm on my phone for some reason. Hopefully everything's okay. But we are here to talk about the role of the husband. So I'm on the hot seat today. I mean, she got me on the other video. She just like, you know, when was we married? It's just a common thing that us husbands get wrong, right? I mean, like, we do, right? Just comment in the comment section below if you have any comments, husbands, wives, anyone that's prospectively going to get married. Like, you know, just like comment in the comment section below with any of your other comments. We are just like freeballing it here. We're just giving you a take on what the married life is like, and I'm so happy to have you here. I just can't stop saying it. She has her own YouTube channel that I'm gonna link in the description, so check out SJA Design on YouTube, and you know, check her out on Instagram and all that other stuff. So so is it a big problem really to forget like when we got married? I mean, I did get it right in the end though.
Yeah,
I did get it right in the end.
you only 2 days off, but I mean,
and I got the year as well, like 2015, right?
Yeah, you got that right. So you get that, I guess.
Yeah. So I guess husbands, you know, it's not that bad if you get certain things wrong. I mean, we all slip up sometimes. Like, I normally forget and then remember, forget and remember. I don't know what it is. It's like those few days was like a kind of like, I don't know, like a series of events kind of thing for me. Like, it was like a week of like events that happened, and it was just so amazing. And it's actually like 4 years ago that we went on 100.
Yeah, because we had went back to England where we were living before.
Yeah.
To actually get married. We got married here in Vermont, USA. And we had went back, and we started uni, and we didn't go to on our honeymoon until like this week in July, in 2016. So we were looking at like old memories that come up on our social media, and we're like, oh yeah, we went skydiving today, like 4 years ago on our honeymoon.
That was an adventure. I mean, I kind of wanted to skydive a little, but really, you know, Sakili really wanted to skydive. Yeah. For her whole life, she's wanted to do it, and I was just kind of like, if you see my face in some of the pictures, like.
It was so. I appreciate Jamal coming along because it wasn't his. It wasn't on his bucket list, although it was on mine. Yeah.
So there's just pictures of me kind of like holding on. Like, the one thing they said not to do was like no hold on before you jump out, and that was the one thing that I did. It was actually really good. Like, it was a good experience, but guys, just don't do it. don't do it. Don't do. You do not need this in your life. You do not need to do it. But if you do it, Sakili's perfectly happy to go.
I'll go with someone.
I mean, she will.
Just message me, like put it in the comments. I'm looking for someone else to go at a different location. So any big birthdays coming out, or just like the desire to jump out of a plane, let me know. I'll be there. Yeah,
and I'll be waiting for you guys at the bottom. So you guys are go. I'm just waiting for you guys at the bottom. So let's just have a talk about our lives. Like, what advice would we give to husbands, like just going through marriage? Maybe they're newlywed, maybe they've been married for a long time. We've been married for 5 years. So what have we kind of learned during those 5 years about the role of a husband?
I mean, I feel like, so we're coming up to our 5th year, and I'm kind of thinking like, a lot has changed. It's felt like a long journey. Like, also we got, when I got married, I was 21, and we met, as I said, last time when I was almost 19. And I just feel like I've changed as a person a lot. And even like, I think our perspectives on marriage, we were like looking to, and good examples of like Christian married couples, I think is useful. It's helpful.
Definitely.
But I don't know, we were like really just trying to, I think now I feel more comfortable in ourselves as just a couple, like Jamal and Sakili.
Yeah.
And before, we were looking kind of to everyone a lot, like the pastors that guided us in like our premarital counseling, and like just what we were getting to know what it would be like.
2 premarital counseling with 2 different pastors and their wives, so it's a bit crazy.
It was helpful, but it was more like, you know, we were trying to like really fit in to like
fit
what we
into
thought.
a mold, like
And really, we're different people than they are. I think some things should look the same as like if you're Christian and married, but you are different people with different experiences. You're like a different couple, and I feel like now that's like something comfortable. I don't feel like I need to try and be like so and so or this person and that bull. But there was like a lot of like, we were unsure at the beginning. I think like now we're more confident. We have a kind of groove.
Yeah, if it was like, I feel like becoming a husband, like from having no responsibility whatsoever, and then becoming a husband straight away, it's like, and going through the Bible and certain things that it says, like love your wife, you know, you got to be the leader of your household. It kind of hit me like straight away, where I'm like, you know, I got to do this right, I got to do everything right, you know, I got to lead my family, I got to, you know, I got to do everything. And essentially, like, the newest thing for me is that you have to take responsibility. You have to take the blame for things that go wrong, because you're leading your family. And like, it's like, I just found it kind of tricky at the beginning. And even now, like sometimes I get a bit, you know, anxious about that, because I find it so important to kind of lead our family. And it's kind of, and you could definitely tell, right, when I'm getting more anxious about like things, and like just trying to get everything right, and trying to make sure that you're healthy and well, and like, you know, it can really bog down. So let's just take a look at this verse. I just want to quickly look at this verse. So we are here, we are back in Genesis. Like, I told you guys we're going to keep coming with these bonus verses. So we're back in Genesis. I hope you guys can hear me, because I know last week we had a bit of like mic issues and stuff, but hopefully that is fixed now. Just let me know in the comment section. Looks like we're getting some hearts from someone.
Yes. See, I've got my phone here, and I'm just checking everything on this controller thing to make sure they're okay. And we have not heard that the sound is off, and so I think we're good to go.
Cool. So let's look at Genesis chapter 3, verses 8 to 12. And husbands and men, let's pay attention here to what's happening. So it says, and this is just after the fall of man, when they took the fruit. And it goes into saying like, and they heard the sound of the Lord God walking in the garden in the cool of the day. And the man and his wife hid themselves from the presence of the Lord God among the trees of the garden. But the Lord called to the man and said to him, where are you? So like, let's focus on that for a second. Like, the woman, she took the fruit first. She was deceived by the serpent. But where did God go first? He went straight to the man. And this is, you know, to me, when I'm reading this, I'm like realizing the pressure and the responsibility that we have as husbands to lead our wives. And then we see next what the husband does. So it says in verse 10, and he said, I heard the sound of you in the garden, and I was afraid, because I was naked and I hid myself. So he, you know, he made an excuse. And then he said, who told you that you were naked? Have you eaten of the tree which I commanded you not to eat? The man said, the woman who you gave to be with me, she gave me the fruit and I ate. So you see what he did there? Like, he really just, you know, he just really just passed the buck, and he just tried to pass his responsibility down to the woman. And I feel like I can definitely struggle with that too, like, because I'm so used to, you know, when you're used to your own kind of ways and your own kind of things, when things go wrong, you can kind of blame you for that, you know, right? Like,
Yeah, I mean, for me, it came from like, I think you caught on pretty quickly to like, oh, this is a big deal being a husband, and like in God's eyes, and that like actually caused you to be anxious to levels of like trying to get everything right.
Yeah.
And me, like, I think like, because I was pretty much, before we lived together, I hadn't been in any sort of serious relationship where I was living with anyone outside of my family. I'd lived with my dad for a bit before that. I was with my family in America. I had a year living on campus for university. But other than that, nope. And I was like more like, hey, let's go out and do whatever. And I really wasn't really in the space to make that adjustment to like, oh, like, I'm a wife now and we're sharing our lives. And that was like a teething thing for me, coming in like a kind of free-flowing 21-year-old, and like that, even I think it just really made it more stressful for Jamal. It made it like that transition period harder, because I guess I was still coming from, you know, when we were just going on dates, like to have fun, go out this restaurant, go to the cinema. What's
like,
gotta change?
This, that, we gotta like do this, do that. Like it kind of shifted a little
It
bit.
did shift.
Yeah.
And like, I think I was like slower to get than it was supposed to shift, and there were other things, and Jamal was like maybe too quick to be like, okay, everything is so we had this actual kind of like period where we were really trying to figure out what things should be like now. And that was difficult at the beginning, like, and I feel like especially in the beginning, I didn't feel so much like you were blaming me, but I feel like you were like very quick to be like, well, this is my responsibility. But to the extent where it stressed you out sometimes, and like you were trying to figure, and I didn't help, I'm sure, by like not really getting that there did need to be a shift.
Oh yeah, well I think you helped me very well, like, as well, and I think that like certain anxiety that I had, you actually helped me to get over it, because like you was like very confident, very young, like going out meeting different people, and like there was just situations that I was thrown in almost.
Hey,
almost
you want to meet these people?
Like when you want to go in this big room full of all these people and like meet all of them and say hi to them and all of this, and I'm just like, okay, you know.
Not really that.
And I used to be so anxious, like even stuff like this used to be like trouble for me, but like, you know, like you really helped me and like guided me through that, and that's what a wife's supposed to do, like help their husband to like get over their anxieties and the different things. So what is he talking about? Sometimes I forget what I'm talking about. And then Sakili remembers, but sometimes I remember what she's talking about. The role of a husband, the pressures of a husband. So like in garden we see all these things, and he blamed the woman. Let's just take a look at what the comments are saying. Okay.
Sounds working.
Sounds working. That's great. Thanks for letting us know. Any other comments, just get it down there in the description. So really, how did I overcome that pressure? I guess it's like, first you have to deal with your anxiety, if you have any anxiety over it. Secondly, you have to notice that it's a team effort. You know, it's a team effort. Even in the garden, it was a team effort. The husband was supposed to like guard almost the wife, and the wife was supposed to cling to the husband. So we always have to remember it's always a team effort. We shouldn't be blaming one side or another side. We should be like trying to deal with it together, or deal with whatever the situation is. And I feel like our lives have gone in so many different places as well, in the space of just 5 years, and like people do change. Like there is levels of depression that any can happen to anyone at any time. You know, you could lose a family member, and we've had to deal with the downfall of that and come back up and find the positives in different things. So I really resonate with being able to adapt and change, and as a husband, love your wife, like no matter what happens, because that's what the vows you're taking says. It's not saying you're gonna love the person that you see right in front of you in the altar. It's saying that you're gonna love who she was, you're gonna love who she is now, and you're gonna love who she will be. So just be prepared for things changing, you know. And we're in quite of a change now. Like we're looking in this pandemic, and things are uncertain. We're trying to look for different properties. We don't know. We never had a property of our own before, so we're just like, you know, we don't know what to expect. I know for a fact I'm gonna love this woman like for the rest of my life. So that's the one thing that you know is just not gonna change. But as we saw, like loving is a doing word. It's not just a saying and feeling word, which is something. I feel like what can be a barrier for that? I feel like day-to-day life.
Yeah. I kind of remember one of our premarital counseling. I think it was the one in England. One of our pastors in England from Crossroads Baptist Church, which is a church where Jamal, like, that really helped Jamal after he had turned to Christ, where he got baptized. But so I remember one thing just like that stuck in my head later, which I had not always done, is he told me even like if Jamal like made decisions or mistakes, like I should be supportive. I shouldn't come. It's like the blame thing again. Like everything, like it was Adam and Eve. It didn't make anything better when they turned on each other and like didn't take the blame. And it never has for us. When we like just get mad about the situation and we don't come together, it only made it worse every time. We just didn't sort it out. Everyone felt worse. Yeah. And like it doesn't feel right being like disaligned with your spouse, or being in an argument with your spouse, or knowing that you're both hurting or they're hurting, or that like this, you know, the way you're dealing with it is hurting both of you or one of you. Even like if it's in the heat of the moment, it never feels good. Yeah. And I remember like him just saying, even if Jamal does, and I think he might have done it even kind of funny, like a boneheaded move or something, like, you know, it's important to be there to support him and not to like straight away get mad about it and just react. And that's something like which over time I was like got better at doing, but there were times definitely where I'm just like, I would react first, and it like never ever helped the situation in hindsight.
Yeah, and I make a lot of mistakes. Like even like even right now, I have like the fire alarm just taken out for a little while, because whenever I get in that kitchen, there's always smoke, there's always fire. You know, I'm a decent cook. You know, I'm a little decent cook, but always smoke.
He's a great cook. But I mean, when I came back, I was a little alarmed to see the fire alarm taken out. Yeah, it's like, why is that? But it like smokes up a lot in here especially when Jamal cooks. When Jamal cooks, it looks like something exploded in the kitchen. There's stuff everywhere. Yeah. So
so good luck for us today when we step in the kitchen to try and make something. But you know, Sakili's always here to make light and make, you know, remember even what I told you guys, if you saw the other live stream about me forgetting to put the thing in me getting to put the water thing in the thing. So then
okay, so this is another thing, guys, you may get to notice about us. I started it. I will like just say thing instead of an actual word, and Jamal, who usually knows me enough to know what I'm talking about, but he adopted it, and now we do it to each other, but you guys don't necessarily know what we're talking about. So we have a portable washing machine, and its hose goes off into the sink, and Jamal forgot you have to like hook it into the sink to let the wastewater come out. And he did not put it in the sink, so it kind of flooded the kitchen floor a lot, like a lot.
Yeah.
So that is what happened. Yeah.
The reaction was very good, considering like.
I think I was kind of shocked. I think my mouth actually opened for about.
Yeah, I think he's actually in a Bible study like at
Yeah.
the time, and you came out, and I was like, I'm gonna figure it out. I'm gonna figure it out. And then, yeah, so lots of stuff happen like that. There's a lot of times when we're traveling, like even on our honeymoon, like we get there and we get to New York, and we are running to catch our. No, wait, was it even New York? No, that wasn't the New York one. That was, I don't know, Detroit. I don't know what state it was. I'd never, like, been in America that much, so I don't want to be in that state. And we were stuck there, and I was running to catch, we were both running to catch the connective flight, and we missed the flight. And like if any of you have missed flights before, especially on your honeymoon, where everything's booked, all the excursions, everything's booked, you're like, and like I was about to lose my mind, thinking everything's ruined.
But that brings up a good point to me. I remember, like, we calmed ourselves down and we were prayerful. And it's like we turned to God, which like in the verse we were looking at, that is not what happened. Like, even I read this like a few times in Bible studies lately. I was like, what if like they like asked God more about stuff, or they like were approached, because it insinuated that it wasn't the first time necessarily that that the servant had approached them.
Yeah.
And what if they had like went to God, and it was actually like we prayed and like centered ourselves, and actually we thought we were gonna miss a day. We were able to get a flight on that same day.
Yeah.
And it didn't remind me, like, that's another thing, not just like what Jamal does or what I does. It's like having God in your marriage, like, is a staple, as a cornerstone.
Yeah.
It always makes things better. That's one of the things that always makes things better. Turning away from each other is something that always makes things worse.
Yeah.
That's definitely two things I've learned.
Yeah, and as a husband, you know, the pressure isn't all on you. And something that I realized, you know, because God's supposed to be the head and you're supposed to rely on God. You know, it sounds easy, it can be tricky, but really if we pray and we use our Bible, just as we saw in the scenario right there, because it was interesting, because they told us like there was no more flights. We'd have to sleep in the airport or sleep at some sort of hotel or something in a state we didn't know. And we prayed and kept on being persistent, and we found, you know, that it worked out. Yeah, I'm sure there was more. There was something else I wanted to talk about. Keep it going with your comments. Like, let us know. Ooh, okay. So we have a comment here.
Oh, that's on YouTube. 1 second.
So
Here we go.
My mom here. Okay, so she is saying marriage is about loving together, learning together how to balance the scales of life. You are both a great example of Christian marriage. Bless. Okay, thank you. That's
Thanks,
Mom.
Mom.
Yeah, that's nice to hear from you. Like, that we've always wanted to be an example to different married couples like that were just like us, starting off in their journey, just letting them know that, you know, there will be ups and downs, but you can get through it. You could easily get through it through God's work, prayer, through just doing things together, not doing things separately, and just learning how to really do that in your life.
It's funny being like, we're kind of like out of our peers, and our friends, we're like kind of the most mature married couple now. Like, as far like we've been married some of the long, like I have a lot of friends that aren't married yet. We're like newly married, and I'm like, oh, we're like been married almost 5 years now.
Yeah.
That's like crazy.
Yeah, it is.
It's weird to think about. But like, I agree with so much with that comment. It's kind of like, I'm just gonna pull it up to look a bit. It's like, it's so much about learning. Like, that's what I really found out.
Yeah, that to me is the biggest blessing of marriage. Is that you get to be someone for the rest of your life, and you get to learn about them. constantly, as they change, as you change, you constantly get to learn about each other. And it's just so amazing. I mean, whether you go up or down, wherever, you're still learning, you're still gaining experience that you could use for yourself, you could use for others. And just like what we're doing right now, right?
Yeah. And there's a lot of growing and changing. Like, I feel like I was at that age, like in stage in my life, I had a lot of growing and learning and like even just finding myself to do. And then like doing that together with someone else. Like, not only would I say has it been, it was very it was like joyous, I guess, to like do that with someone, but it also was like intense. It was like something new and different to like, especially when you're growing and figuring yourself out and there's someone else who's doing that alongside. That's where the balance part, I agree with, in the comment also comes in, where it's kind of like finding a balance for all these things and like readjusting. That's the thing. I mean, sometimes that changes, the balance changes, and as Jamal kind of mentioned earlier, there have been times where like Jamal is down and I am up, and I am down and he is up, and like this is different and that is hard for this person or not for that person. And it's kind of like just, yeah, like things that are coming at you, and like it's definitely different. Like, I guess like it makes me think of TV.
Yeah.
And like the end goal, the happy ever after, is once you get your prize person you like, or the princess or the prince or whatever, and then it's kind of like they ride off into the sunset. But really, that's like really just the very beginning. Like, first they show you on screen, I guess, of them falling in love and all. That's like more like the very beginning when you're dating your marriage. But then it's all like, that's when the adventure begins at the end of the movie. Because it's like they show it, but it's like so many things will come at you in life, and you'll change and they'll change, and like it is all about adjusting and just going along together for the ride.
Yeah, that is so true. So yeah, I just remember the question that I was thinking of. So in the Bible study, we was talking about understanding your wife. So I'd like to ask you, what is ways in which I or other husbands out there could understand their wife better?
I would say, like, for me, like, I like to feel heard. Like, at first there was an adjustment from, like, that I mentioned earlier, where I was like, oh, I'm still, like, just thinking we're dating, or, like, I'm living alone, or, like, let's just go wing everything. And Jamal wasn't like that. So that was, like, a point of us, like, we didn't always agree with everything, and, like, I was less understanding that, like, you know, I should just kind of make sure I'm following Jamal's lead and trusting in him. But I do like to feel like we can discuss stuff and like feel like you're listening to me, you understand me, and not like presuming what I'm gonna do, presuming what I might say or react.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it turns into like a self-fulfilling thing. Yeah. Like I respond to like his response or to the idea he's starting to try and guess what I do, and then it could end with like a different result. Like, so I think for me that was a thing, just like feeling like we're a team and like feeling like we're working on things together, or just like, even if it's like we don't go with whatever we're discussing, like you come to a different decision, it's still like, oh well, like we were together on this. Yeah. So I think that's for me. It's like I don't like being like guessed about, and I'm pretty direct as well. So it's kind of my way to like just come out and say something. So I guess I appreciate similar interactions.
Yeah, off that my experience, I would say like a phone is a big problem. I feel like there's many times when I've been on my phone and you've been trying to speak to me, and then I'm like, yep, but then I'm not like listening. you know. And I feel like that's something that can definitely become a problem in you guys' marriage, because if you're just not focused, like, you know, nothing should get in the way of your wife's voice, you know. When she speaks, she takes high priority over your phone, over the TV, over the computer games, over anything else, you know. That your wife's voice really doesn't matter. And I feel like eye contact definitely matters and stuff like that's something I'm really hard doing as well, because I tend to not look at people's eyes. Like, it's probably like a anxious thing too, like, you know, you learn to like not look people in the eye for some reason. I feel like that really helps if you can try and do that. And also I just feel like, you know, what else do I feel like? Oh yeah, the guessing thing. So when you know someone so well, you start to preempt things. Like, and I do that so much. I need to learn how to stop doing that. Like, know someone, so you preempt what they're gonna do. You preempt if they're gonna react good. You preempt if they're gonna act bad. You think you know every single thing they're gonna do. As I said, like, marriage is about constantly learning as well. So like, knowing certain things about what your wife likes, what she dislikes, you know, her favorites, her favorite that, yada yada yada, yeah, that's good. But don't try and preempt like every single which way she's gonna act, and don't like pre-plan. So like, you're not only sometimes I do this like a lot. Like, I would preempt, but I would also pre-plan things, like thinking it's gonna go that way. Like, you know, so I'll be like boom boom boom. It's like, okay, but that's not the plan, you know. That's not really right, you know. That's not how people are gonna react.
I'll bring up. I see that you brought up comments. I'll mention it after, but that brought a memory into my mind. But maybe were we gonna look at this?
Oh,
You
no.
want me to say first?
Go ahead.
Okay, so that reminded me like of doing kind of much the same. I was just in this rotten mood, guys. I don't know. I don't remember why. I think I was like overtired and like just I was just in a bad mood, and I was just kind of snippy. And like Jamal hadn't really done anything. I don't really remember what it was, but he must have like approached me and poked the bear. And I was just snippy, and like I was just like just my vibe, and like I was just like snippy. And I guess I kind of expected him to respond in kind or like kind of snap back or something. But instead, he was like so soft and understanding. And I remember it makes me think of the verse about being understanding to your wife. And like, you know, it just disarmed me completely. I was like, it kind of just it was like a realization, like, why am I being so narky? Like, why am I fretting? And like, I didn't really have much to read. I was just in a bad mood. I had taken out on Jamal just in that moment, but like how he reacted really did it completely changed my complete vibe. I apologized, and I was like immediately I realized how I was being. And that was like I had preempted and like thought, oh, he's gonna do this, and I was ready because I was just in some bad mood. I don't know why. And like, but him just not doing that and reacting differently really just changed how that whole went. And that always makes me think of like, you know, I mean, I was definitely in the wrong, but although it is important not to do that all the time. And sometimes people surprise you, like you said, you grow and you change. I'm different from when we first got married.
Yep.
So are you. And like, you know, going back on like what you knew about your partner all the time and just guessing, it can be really unhelpful sometimes.
Yeah. And yeah, I remember those moments. It is hard to do that. I mean, most of the time I completely fail with that, but you know, we keep working, we keep trying. And you know, I remember a time where it's happened on the opposite now. Like, now that I've gained more confidence and like something like that, like my mouth can fly sometimes. So when it flies, like, you know, I could get too passionate about something that I'm trying to enforce in our marriage. And just like when Sakiti's like calm and like patient, and she recognizes when I'm getting heated, and she can recognize when I'm getting agitated about something, and she can really cool down the situation. So we got sort of comment here.
Yeah, let's look at it.
Let's see what's going on. So for our friends who are single, dating, or even engaged, what are some of the most valuable ways you each prepare for a marriage that is Christ-centered? Thinking back to conversations I had with Sakili while I was engaged, really appreciated super practical tips she shared, like combining finances, but having your own allowances. Oh, yeah. That's a big.
That's true.
That's a big. Like, I feel like if you're planning to marry in a godly way, we have to remember that what's mine is hers and what's hers is mine. You know, you're combining everything. You're combining your profits, your debts, your every single thing together. But there also has to be a way to having fun in your own way. You know, buying clothes or buying a computer game. Let's say that quietly, but yeah.
So, yeah, I agree. That's thank you for bringing that up. I remember speaking to you, Lucy, like about that, and for us it's pretty seamless. Like, we're like, yeah, okay, these are now our bills. This is now our, but there were little things like, so for example, I love jewelry. So I might spend like, at the time, 60 pounds on a nice jewelry set. Jamal would spend 60 pounds on a video game.
Yeah.
Well, I had no idea why anyone would pay 60 pounds for a video game. And he had no idea why it was for jewelry. Yeah. So, but we wanted to like, and then there's like surprise presents. So we already had our own account. So like at first we were able just to separate things that way. But we thought it was a good idea to like, be able to have that, like, okay, I don't know why you bought that pillow, or like, I don't know why you wanted that video game or that random like pair of jeans, but it doesn't matter, you know, like you still. So we did come up to a system where we kind of gave ourselves little money allowances. No ask, just buy whatever you want, even whatever obscure random thing it would be. Yeah. You could just add, and I liked that. I think it still gave us like that freedom, because you do go from like, I'm just gonna do this like all the time, to like merging your life with someone else. So I kind of think it was useful. It's like, I wouldn't don't tell, you know. If Jamal wanted to get a new game every month or whatever, he could, you know, and he wouldn't ask about my random new fashion things I was trying, or hairstyles I was going to salon about.
I'm getting exposed now for the game.
Sorry. Well, like, I think it was useful, because at first we were always like, okay, well, I want to buy this, and it would always be a discussion. Yeah. And like, it could even be subtle, but you could tell if the other person's like, why would you want to? So that was helpful not to that. I like to have separate.
Yeah, don't let money be a problem in your marriage. That's a safe way of not making money. You know, if a family member sends you a gift, like if my mother sends me a gift, what do we do? You know, that's something that you guys can figure out at home, like what you might do in a situation like that. You know, do you share it into the pool, or do you keep it? That's some of the things that you gotta decide in your marriage. But don't let it come in between your marriage, because you know the worry of money can definitely be a problem. Like, you know,
that I feel like that's almost a separate thing. So I feel like worrying about your shared assets can be like almost a whole separate issue. Like, I've heard of couples that are not necessarily Christian couples that keep like big quantities of money separate. I would just say I don't think that's a good idea. If you're like going into the marriage, I doubt it's a good idea. We never done it that way. We ended up merging whatever we had. Yeah. I just feel like it can really become a problem. And you don't want to be like, that's mine and this is mine. Like, you are really trying to come together. God has ordained for you guys to be together. So I would not let that be an issue at all. Worrying about money. That can be an issue after you've merged everything, and just like about security and like idolizing these kind of things that we see as stability. So that one I think is like a whole different topic as well.
Yeah, that could be we could make a whole topic just on money and the worry of money in marriage and certain things like that. So yeah, it's like it's getting up to 40 minutes on the stream now. Like I think we've gone through a lot of different things. Husbands out there, hope you feel empowered to go on the quest of marriage. Like if you're a young married couple, if you're like any sort of married couple, we're looking at the comments right now. We're just looking at different things and getting some good comments here.
From my uncle, so proud of my niece and her husband. Thank you, uncle. That's
Yeah,
sweet.
thanks.
Yeah, I got back on here.
Yeah, we're gonna get her on here as much as possible, guys. We need all the comments, or blow up the comment section, all the likes, all the everything, because we want her back here on this channel every week. Yes, we want her back here every single week. But don't forget to check out her channel. You know, I don't think I linked in the description right now, but I'm going to. It's going to be in the description after this. But it is SJA Design. Very simple, SJA Design. There's going to be some big things coming up there. She's so talented. She's showing off her talent, you know, her God-given talent on that channel. And maybe we can collaborate again soon. You know, maybe on your channel, maybe on my channel. Who knows? Like, it's just a new adventure that we're going through here. So we like to thank you guys for watching. You know, thank you guys for being here, and enjoy your week. We will enjoy ours, and let's continue to explore our unknown years.